Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that you won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show. With your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you. This day is going to 12 rather quickly. Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino.
How are we doing?
We are wound up and getting ready to shot out of a cannon.
Tighter than a spring.
Jesus.
Anyway,
what a day.
Yeah, man.
But in a good way. In a good way.
Yes. I took in wanted to tell you that we've gotten a lot of comments on our last show. Where it was
the show with just you and I.
Just you and I, where we got into the big discussion
shooting
about
the virtual breeze.
Yeah, about
the physics of
and
mechanics of making noise on a 6-stringed instrument.
Yeah,
and how none of it matters.
Yeah, nobody wanted to buy that.
Good.
So
did we ever put up that link to that?
Not on the website. I'll do it this week. I'll put it up there, and everybody can watch it. He does one on hollow bodies, and he said, does it affect the wood? And he started going through the physics of how the string rings again, and how you get the wave, where you get the 110, the 220, the 330, and the 440, and then even goes higher, but you don't hear those frequencies because they get out of the range. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's great, but I have been in Phil Jacoby's place where the guy had like a D'Augustino, I think am I pronouncing that right? Hollow body.
Well, there's D'Angelico.
D'Angelico.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
What the hell?
August.
I don't know.
You're thinking St. Augustine, Florida. So am
maybe.
I. So,
Okay, so it just comes and goes. Hang with me, people.
They're just letters. They just put them in the wrong place and
all
it's
the
a different
time.
Word, right?
But anyway, the guy had one of those hollow bodies, and he was playing the guitar right there in Phil's little place. And Phil had I don't know what it was. It was a little tube amp, I think, sitting there. Mm-hmm. I said to Phil, it is amazing how much of the wood I'm hearing in that guitar. I mean, it was like an amplified acoustic guitar. And there's another video out there where the guy says, maybe a little bit comes through the bridge and you're getting that resonant. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no.
So this was an electric guitar.
It was a hollow body.
Okay.
Yeah, hollow body guitar. Mm-hmm. 2 humbuckers, like a Birdland.
Okay.
But the thing is that I started thinking about it, and I'm going, well, his theory's a little effed. And what I mean by that is that a pickup is a microphone. And it's not just a microphone for a string. Go yell into your pickup.
Oh, the more microphonic they are, the more of a microphone they are.
You can actually hear your voice. You throw a distortion pedal. I used to do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You throw enough gain on it, and you scream into it.
Oh, yeah.
It comes out of the amp.
Yeah.
Well, what is that?
I've seen guys do that. It's called a microphone.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's going to pick up something there. I truly believe that. I know the physics piece. We're not going to get all into that, but it's...
people wanted to.
Yeah. There was a lot of people telling the guy's full of crap, and we hear it. Yeah. I mean, your ears are the end factor, right? I mean, I would think.
Absolutely, yeah. In anything, I mean, why would you let anything else be the final factor? It's all in what you hear and how you perceive it. And
exactly.
Look, and I know that you can pick up 2 very similar guitars, and there's arguments out there where maple and a rosewood neck don't sound any different, especially amplified. But you and I can pick up 2 Strats, that are as similar as they could be. Granted, of course, the body wood's going to be a little different, and whatever. But you can hear the spankiness of the maple neck.
Sure.
You could guitar players have developed signature tones that are partially based on the neck of the guitar. You can't tell me that anything doesn't make a difference in that.
And to further make that point, there is a guitar builder, an incredible guitar builder who I want to try to get on the show, named Dave McNaught. McNaught Guitars.
Right.
He uses what they call a set-through neck. Now, the neck tenon goes all the way to the bridge. So it's not a neck through, but it's called a set through because it literally extends down into the body. Was that 12 inches?
It's got to be at least
12 inches, right? So on his website, McNaughtGuitars.com, he explains how he does this, right? So it's a pretty involved process because he has to put the top on after he's made the body and the neck, and he has to marry the two because you can't, unlike Kevin Brubaker, his tenon is the same size, and it just slides down into the guitar,
right,
and then he bolts it.
Right.
This is actually glued in, and it actually has a different type of taper, so he has to build it to get, he has to put the thing together and glue it all up. It doesn't remove, right? So on his website, he says when he ran that tenon that long, he had to kind of find the sweet spot because if he ran it any longer, the guitar, he said, it would become so dark in tone.
Oh, wow.
He says the high end would just disappear because he said that tenon was ringing in the body and it was getting all this low end from the body, and the neck wasn't being able to produce the highs the correct way. So he had to shorten it up because he had ran it like
in essence, he just added too much mass to the neck, I guess.
Yeah. So that right there tells you, because Paul Gilbert said it on one of his videos. He has an RG model that's a bolt-on, right? Mm-hmm. And for years, Ibanez does this thing where they really scallop or they contour the heel to where it's not even squared off like a Strat. It's kind of rounded. Well, it ain't kind of rounded. It's really rounded, right? And then they radius it pretty heavy. So they take a lot of wood out of that area where it bolts to the neck.
Mm-hmm.
And Gilbert said he had heard such a difference that he told Ibanez, make it with one of the old tenons that go, that extend out and is squared off. And he said it was like night and day. So when he had his signature model made, this all came from his signature model, his new one, the Fireman.
Right.
That's a set neck guitar. Well, when they set their necks, they do it different than the American manufacturers, where the American manufacturers kind of cut the body off straight and then they put the neck in there and they make a little heel. Well, Ibanez, they run it underneath of the neck. So
the body.
Yeah, the body.
The neck.
So it extends out. And you get more mass in that area, which is a better transfer of the energy, I guess, or the tone, right? So those are two examples that tell you that it has to make a difference, because if the guy made a tenon that was so long that it actually started, the highs started disappearing, well, yeah, the wood makes a difference.
Here's where I see the rub. That's not necessarily the wood making the difference. That's not the type of the wood making that's a construction technique.
Yes,
making the difference. That's not the type of wood.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the type. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you made that out of a different wood,
would it do a different thing?
Right. Now, according to the
guy.
On the link that we discussed last time.
Yes.
According to him, no. I still find that hard to believe, because woods all sound different. I mean, we built speaker cabinets out of pine.
Because you hear the difference.
Because I think pine sounds the best. It is the most musical. It's the most resonant wood that I have heard. I mean, Leo did it out of probably just ease of building, because you get a piece of pine shelving, and that's the depth of your Tweed Fender amps.
Exactly.
And it was easy to do. It's out there. You just buy it, cut it, put it together. But we've tried over the years. We've tried. Even pine plies. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of pies are a lot of plywoods are like fir,
Douglas fir.
Yeah, and that's a pine.
It's a Christmas tree.
It's a pine tree, right? But even that, because it's been broken down and glued back together, doesn't sound the same. And we've tried different, of course, different hardwoods. Again, different hardwoods sound the same in the cabinets. Sound different in the cabinets.
Yeah, sure.
If you build the same cabinet with them. They resonate differently. They have a different tone. Some are brighter, some are darker.
So what I was thinking is if he did that extended tenon and he made a maple neck, would it brighten up? Because see, it's such a harder wood, it's not going to absorb all that vibration as much as like mahogany. Because most of his guitars are mahogany body, mahogany neck. Mm-hmm. So when you go with a maple or a harder wood, even ebony, if you did it, if you had deep pockets and you made it out of ebony, it would definitely probably ring a little bit brighter. I would imagine.
Yeah, it would have to bring out the brightness.
Yeah,
honestly, for me, it just stands to reason.
Yeah, we could talk about this until the cows come home.
We totally could, but for wood's not making a difference, dude. I don't buy it. I get it in speaker cabinets. If it makes a difference in an open speaker cabinet, you can't tell me it doesn't make a difference in the construction of a beautiful guitar.
I think I think the only time that you probably would not make too much of a difference, and I say this, quotes, would probably be crazy high gain, because you start really getting compression all over the place, and honestly, then it's not even an amp anymore. It's just it's like a switch, like you said. It's just
it's a trigger.
It's a trigger, yeah.
Right.
But when you're lower gain and clean, I don't buy it. I believe that it makes every bit of difference, because it just makes sense. I mean, Fenders they go, well, it's single coil, and I'm like, well, there's some Les Pauls like the Deluxes. They had those little mini humbuckers. They were basically single coils. I mean, they had a very single coil sound to them. But
they leaned more towards single coil than humbucker.
Yes.
They were not as powerful and had the push of a humbucker behind them.
And those
probably
things,
closer to P90.
Yeah, and those things, the guitar still had the bottom end to it a little bit, just because I think of the way it was made and what it was made out of. So that's enough of that. But I saw it and I was like, really? A hollow body? I'm like, come on, man. They just put pickups on acoustic guitars so the guy could be heard back in the day.
And honestly, you tell an acoustic guitar player that, a spruce top is going to sound exactly the same as a rosewood or something. I mean, seriously, dude.
Yeah. Or you could tell the guys at Fishman that each guitar is going to sound the same because you guys just put a pickup in it.
Yeah.
It'd be like, no, we're sorry. And that's why when you hear the piezo, right? Piezo? Yes. The bridges that you can get like on Parker Flies and, different electric guitars, how they get all of a sudden these acoustic properties. Everybody says if the more pressure you have, the more it actually gets the vibration from the body, and you pick up that acoustic timbre to it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, it's the same thing. It's a pickup. I mean, why? How is it different there, but it's not, the other way? It's crazy that people, I don't know. When you put science into things, a lot of times it'll go crazy, a little upside down. It's sort of like this. I always tell people, you can play with numbers and you can make anything sound good or bad. And case in point, you could go outside here, get in your car, and there's a good chance you're going to get in an accident, right? But you get in an airplane, your chances of being in an accident, probably a lot less. Mm-hmm. Problem, you're going to die in the plane, generally, then...
Don't point that finger at me, son.
Than the 35-mile-an-hour crash in your car. See, there's a difference, because when that aluminum can falls out of the sky, there's not a whole lot to help you. So when you're in a plane crash, a lot more statistics say you're going to end your life than if you're in your car. So, see, you can do that thing, though. You can say, well, it's really safe to fly. Not unless you crash.
Crashes are not safe anyway, regardless of what means of conveyance you are in. But I mean, statistics
they can make up for a lot of ground.
Yeah, they can be bent to suit.
Yes.
That's I mean.
So when you add the science to it, it takes away all the other what would you call it? Natural occurrences,
real life occurrence.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Look, different things sound different. Period. Years ago, when everybody was just starting to get into different speakers sounding different.
Oh,
and yeah, man, I mean, it's a magnet and it's some paper that's crushed into this shape and a coil of wire. How could one sound different than the other?
Absolutely.
There are so many nuances to that. I mean, when people were really starting to get into the old Greenback 25s and they wanted them reconed properly, there were people out there, I mean, we're talking probably 20 years ago or more, at least, that were making cones for these recones only from slow growth trees, because when they made the speakers back in the day,
they were made from
slow growth trees.
That's crazy.
And the fibers were different, and you could take the same tree today and make the same cone with the same recipe, and it wouldn't sound the same because the tree is not a slow growth tree.
I know.
So,
I know that for fact.
Particulars are crazy.
Because there is an 18-watt Marshall, I think it's called the 1947X, if I'm not mistaken. And it's 112.
Okay.
112 greenback. And they had an original one there. And when they built this thing, they built it with a new 25-watt greenback. And when they went and listened to it, they said, what happened? Why is this not working? And then they said, let's take the old speaker and put it in the new one. As soon as they did it, they said, okay. And they went to Celestion, and they said, you got to do that. Whatever that is, you got to make it. So they did what Seymour Duncan does with the Antiquity pickups, where they age them like 50 years in 3 days or whatever. I don't know what they do. Yeah. Well, they had to do the same process to that amp.
To the speaker.
To that speaker. I've heard that amp. That is the craziest sounding. It's got they got bad transformers in them. Everybody changes them out to Drakes or something. But the sound that you get out of that thing because of that speaker, I'm like,
I know the project you're talking about.
I'm like, holy crap, that thing is amazing.
Yeah,
it's a very expensive amp for a little combo.
I mean, and there's two variables there. It's like there's speaker age, of course, because speakers, they sound better once they break in.
Yeah,
Well,
there is a break-in period,
right? And then there's the construction of the cone itself. The pulp, how it's made, what it's made of, how it's processed and things like that, and that all makes a big difference. And
it does.
It definitely shapes the sound of the speaker.
And this too, how you mount the speaker. If you mount it from the front, where it's mounted from the face of the amp in, or from the back,
or rear, front mount and rear mount. Yeah,
that makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, front mount is so much more immediate.
Yes, and whether you have cloth. I see. I've had steel grills, because it was like metal,
right?
And I've had cloth grills, and I tell you what, those old Marshalls with that like basket weave or whatever they got going on, completely different sound.
Yeah, it definitely colors the sound in a different way. Speaker grills are, for sure.
Eddie Van Halen, way back, there was a book or a little article that he did in Guitar Player. They put them all together, and he was talking about it. He goes, I ruined two things. When I was doing all my experimenting. One was the Ibanez Destroyer, where he cut that big V out, the guitar that's on Women and Children First. He said killed the guitar. He said the tone just fell out of it. And
you mean the turnbuckle that he put in there didn't help any?
Yeah, the two turnbuckles. So, but the other thing was that he took all the grills off of his Marshall cabinets. And he said it was like, he goes, what happened?
He took away some of the brown.
It's exactly what happened.
Took away some of the brown.
He said all of a sudden it got harsh because all that high end was just pouring out of it. So,
for sure.
But you know what's so funny? Our segues are perfect.
Oh, good. Right. Talk about speakers. About speakers. Our guest today is someone that should know a thing or two or three or maybe more about speakers.
You have a relationship with this company.
I do. Ran into him. Probably it's got to be at least 4 years now. We'll find out. Maybe he does. Maybe he remembers. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But it's we were at an amp show, and they were exhibiting there, and they make speakers, and they wanted to know if they could make speakers for my new East amps. And we went through a couple of iterations, and they wound up doing a killer job in making the speakers that I want for my new amps. So we'll bring in our guest in a minute, and we'll have him give us a little history on the company, which is Warehouse Guitar Speakers, and his name might be Dean Birdsong.
I don't often listen to podcasts, but when I do, I listen to Amps and Axes. Be a rebel, play guitar.
And as promised, without further ado, from Warehouse Guitar Speakers, Mr. Dean Birdsong. Dean, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. How's it going out that way, Joe?
It's going good and wet and cold, but it's still going good. It's still going good.
'Tis the season.
It is. This is my my co-host Mick, whom you've never met. So.
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Glad to meet you, Mick.
I have a little quick story about his speakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
My optometrist is a guitar player.
Okay.
So one day he goes, "Man, you ever heard of these speakers?" And I went, "No, I never have." And he goes, "It was in Vintage Guitar Magazine."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Vintage Guitar Magazine, boy, they don't care how much paper they use.
It's a very large publication.
Well,
physically.
it has gotten smaller.
It has.
Yeah.
It used to be the size of the freaking Daily News.
I thought that was, well, there you go. You know? But anyway, he turned me on. This was long before we started this cast. Years ago.
was this like a big 10-inch Al Nico review?
Actually, I think it was just the ad
Yeah.
for your company. And he said, "Have you ever heard of these speakers?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And he said, "Well, I think I'm going to buy a couple and try them out." So it was like, another year goes by. I go to get my eyes examined, and he said, "Man, those speakers are awesome." And I said, "Really?" And I said, "I'm starting to hear the name." This was years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, we've been at it, I guess, about 6 years under the WGS name, and it's coming right along.
That's cool.
It gets a little better every year.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't want to.
No, I was gonna ask when the company started, but I think we just got that part of it.
Yeah, it was. I'm thinking 6. It may be closing in on 7. I'm not real good with dates, and WGS was born out of a couple of parent companies, and we had been doing OEM stuff for years. So
what kind of companies?
Well, we built for the Mojo Vintage series was built before WGS came about, and we did a lot of bass stuff for a couple of large OEMs that I probably don't need to be dropping names, but
no, it's fine.
We've been doing OEM for I don't know the last 20 years. And,
really?
Wow.
Yeah, as everything started to move overseas and here and there, we started running out of OEMs. We decided we would just try and go the internet and sell direct to the public. And the story. Well, if you go on the website, there's a story, and we had built up 2 different models, probably 1,600 pieces of 12-inch guitar speakers for a pretty big OEM here in the States. Mm-hmm. And everything was approved, signed off on, and at the last minute, it all fell apart. Afraid to break ties with one of the bigger companies or whatever. But anyway, we kept their bass business, but the guitar stuff kind of floundered, and these speakers sat for months, probably for a couple of years, and
wow.
It came time to either scrap them or do something, and it was just breaking my heart. I thought we can't do this. So David Young, the president of WGS at the time, he had a pretty good sized internet business, eBay store, and so let's just blow them out and see what happens. See what happens, and here we are. We sold all of them in about 2 or 3 months, and we had bought enough parts for a year's supply, so we just kept building from there, and now we've got close to 30 different models, and get to build for people like Jeff and a couple of other of these boutique guys, and it's really turned into a nice little business.
The initial speakers that you blew out, were they Did you come up with warehouse guitar speakers at that point? Were they the first actual warehouse guitar speakers, or were they?
Yeah, it was the Veteran 30 and the British Lead were the first two, and like I said, those were built for an OEM that ended up not taking them, and yeah, we started with those two, and yeah, David, you know, the warehouse name, that's really a touchy subject, you know. It
Do touch.
It's not that, well, I don't know, you know, some people, you know, you see warehouse, you think clearance, cheap, you know, and who would have thought back then he was just trying to sell the stuff, you know, to keep me from having to scrap it and break my heart and make me cry for months on end, and yeah. So, but by the time they were sold, we were stuck with it. There was no changing it. It's warehouse, WGS.
Wow. I got to tell you, when I first saw it and he showed it to me, I had that thought actually entered my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, what? They ride around a van?
For years, I would show up at at NAMM or AMP shows or whatever, and people would say, "Oh yeah, you sell Eminence, Celestion?" What? Yeah, we were just a big warehouse that sold speakers. That was it.
That retail.
We were building them.
You can get shoes and a fur coat too.
Yeah. I mean, no, we actually put them together. I mean, every bit of it is built in Paducah, Kentucky. I mean, we source our parts all over the world, but. Yeah, they all come together right here in Paducah.
I mean, that's so funny because in the beginning they were actually speakers sitting in a warehouse, and you market them as
warehouse guitar speakers.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
they were
so
there.
Funny with the way that came about.
Well, it works now because if you say it, everybody knows.
Oh yeah,
it has. It's been nice the last couple of years to actually go somewhere and people don't. Yeah, they actually have an idea of who you are.
Yeah.
You know, it's a huge difference.
You know, it'd be neat, and I don't know if they've ever approached you, but how it's made. That would be. I've seen them build speakers, but I think they build it for high end audio. You know, for that show.
Yeah.
I turn that show on and I go into a coma. My kids hate it.
Exactly.
But
I did. I watched that one. I saw that, and I mean, it's real close. We're a little bit further along. We do run an assembly line. My assembly line. We bought it at auction when EV shut down the Seaverville plant in Tennessee. All of my line came from EV.
Wow.
And, God knows how many speakers were ran off of it before I got a hold of it.
Wow.
And, yeah. I mean, we hit as all the speaker industry started closing down. We snagged up all we could from anybody that was. Powell went out.
Oh yeah.
Onkyo
and so they all went overseas?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well, I knew, Celestion.
Oh, yeah.
Even though they're not here, Celestion, when all that started going down, everybody was like, no matter what it says on there, that thing probably came from China.
Yeah. And now there's
a lot of them.
There's pre-Chinese Celestions, And,
yeah.
I guess some of the higher end ones, or the custom ones, are probably still built in England.
Yeah, I think they're still building quite a few over there, and I mean, Eminence has a plant over there now.
Really?
That's just the way of the world.
Yeah, they were starting. They were starting to go that way, even when I was still back with Buddha, and Eminence was building our speakers then. Yeah. They were building the Fat 12s, and I think they started to lean towards China as well back then. So
all the other manufacturing's going on over there, so it just makes it easier on everybody.
Yeah.
Except for us. Yeah,
doesn't make it easier on my heart, But no, I mean, you guys, bravo for picking up the pieces and keeping them in the good old USA, man. I can't applaud you enough for that.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I mean, building speakers in the States is it's kind of dwindled away quite a bit since about 2000. That was about when everything really started flying away.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's just I'm sorry. It just doesn't make sense. I know there's what I like is you got to go to the other side of the earth to save money.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point, it's got to get back on a plane.
Down that much, if you look at it, I mean, you're still paying quite a bit for all that overhead still, but
yeah,
I think that's our niche. We're small enough we can pull it off.
Well, that's cool, man.
And our parent company, Acoustic Design is the parent company, and we've supplied voice coils, cones, magnets, Neo, to everybody in the industry for years. I mean, we have relationships overseas that go back 25 years, and you know, we can get about anything we want. We have a machine shop in Thailand that we own that runs 24/7. We've got about a dozen CNCs in it. Most of our baskets, you know, they're made overseas, but there are tools.
Wow.
Same with the plates. What we don't build ourselves, we own the tools to, and have somebody else, you know, make them for us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good because then they can, you know, your scrutiny can be put on it as much as you want.
We really do. You know, we have some really good quality parts. Our coils, Harbour's coils are as good as anybody's. Just period. That's all there is to it. And you know, we've supplied people like EV and Harman and Mizco and you know the guys that build for Ford and Toyota for years. I mean, we
Wow.
That's so cool.
See, I didn't even know that about them. That their parent company was,
oh yeah,
you know, such an established company. You know, and,
yeah, we've all of it. That's the thing. I mean, you know, WGS and we went with this sale to the public at dealer pricing, and you know, it's hurt us on some sides. You know, dealers really don't have a lot of leeway. They can't make a lot of money in the States with us. Our overseas dealers are doing fine.
Really?
But, you know, we've lived off OEM all of our lives. We never really thought about anything as a retail going into it. I mean, we just never thought it would do what it did.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. I mean, it's, you know, it's a little bit of a trade-off, but I like the idea that somebody can call up and order a speaker, you know, and not have to save money for a couple of weeks to get a hold of it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
believe me, I've been down that road.
The pricing is fantastic, and for it to be made here at the price point that they're able to sell it to the end user for, it's just it's ridiculously fantastic.
When I saw it, I was like, I had skepticism because I was like, you know, what is going on? How are they able to do this? And,
exactly.
You know, and I'm going, because if you look at the other companies, you have to basically take out a loan for some of these things.
And, you know, everybody's got to make a living. And in the quantities that, you know, that's it. That comes into the parent company. We have enough buying power and old friendships that we can... we can still get decent pricing on stuff that we can't build ourselves. And
see, there's the missing piece. There's the missing piece that we didn't know, is that there is actually a huge parent company behind this that enables them to put out such a great product at a great price to us poor ass musicians out there, you know?
Hell yeah.
You know, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, I can't play a thing. I can't carry a note in a bucket, but I love music. I love hearing it. I like to make it sound as best as I can. And, that's how I ended up in this. That's pretty much it.
Wow.
You know,
that's,
more power to the music.
So I got a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody like Jeff comes to you.
Yeah.
And he says, I want you to build me this speaker, 12-inch. Okay. Let's just use a 12-inch guitar speaker. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you have like, hey, what do you want it to sound like, right? I'm sure that...
well, actually...
yeah.
I'm sure it works both ways.
Yeah.
You know, I knew what... They came to me, and when I just first started East...
Yes.
You know, and we were all at an amp
show.
Nashville amp show, yeah.
Okay.
and they came to me and, you know, said, hey, we'd like to, you know...
build your speakers.
Yeah, give us a shot at building some speakers. And they heard what I was using, and I went, this is kind of what I like it to sound like. You know, can we do this? I would much rather give you the business if you can make a speaker that sounds at least this good.
Okay.
You know, and we went back and forth with a couple of sample pieces, a couple of iterations.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wow, this is it.
So now
it took 3 or 4, but that's about it. That's about the way that goes. Yeah.
So now the question is though, so you get this information. How do you guys go back to your lab, I guess, and recreate this product that you're? I mean, I know you had to do it at least 4 times, but that's a pretty good batting average, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I mean, I guess there could be a little luck in it, but you know, you've got a general idea. I mean, I know, you know, this is, you know, I'm looking at this resonance. He wants this kind of power handling, and yeah, we just go from there and get with the cone manufacturers, tell them what we're looking for, and yeah, because in fact that East 12, the first couple that we did were just really thin sounding for some reason, and we went back to the cone maker. I increased the weight of the cone by practically nothing. I mean, we're talking grams, and it was a whole new speaker. It made all the difference in the world, and
so the thickness of that paper. See, this is all new to me.
Just anything, the former material of the coil,
the weight of the voice coil.
Because on the 10-inch, one of the coils, when I changed one of the coils, bam, that was it. It nailed it. Just a subtle difference, but it made such a huge difference in the end that. And that was all it was a former material.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really just go after it. And,
it's so good to work with guys like this that, you go through a couple of iterations and you go, no, it's doing this or it's not doing this, or I'd like it to sound like this. And these guys go, okay, well, let's change this because it might affect this change, in it. And, for them to be, for me to be able to go to somebody that's hands-on,
sure.
and go, all right, we're going to put different parts in this speaker for you, and we're going to see what this sounds like. It's just great. I mean, even the dust cap makes a huge difference.
Yeah, huge difference.
That's so crazy.
And that's really part of what that's our biggest deal. I mean, small amp builders, you can't just stroll up to Celestion or Eminence and say, hey,
right,
this is I like this, but I need it to do this, and
they're gonna go, we can probably make it do that, and if you order 1,000,
or more.
Right.
That is so cool. And that you guys know how to do that, because I would think, okay, let's take pickups, right?
Oh God!
Pickups, man. You have what? Do you have?
You're getting into black arts now.
But you know what I mean. There's
yeah, I know.
There's you got the magnets and you got the wire, and there's different grades of each one of those.
Sure.
But you got really those two elements. But when you start getting the thickness of the paper, and then the dust cap, and then the voice coil, and the magnet on the back.
There's the same thing. In fact, I think it's probably easier on the speaker side to tell the truth than the pickup side. But
wow,
I don't know.
See, that's coming from experience.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know. They just put the bobbin out there. They wind back and forth. They get to where they need to be, and then they on their way. But
there's a few more variables in the speaker.
There's a few more in pickups. I know David wanted to get in the pickup business a few years back, and I wound 2 or 3 sets and. I said, I've spent 25 years learning how to do this with speakers. I don't have another 25 years to figure out this pickup thing. There's no sense in pursuing this if you're dependent on me to do it.
Wow,
that is so cool.
Well, it's just wire being wound around something, right?
Yeah. It's just a coil.
That's what it looks like. But
exactly.
Yeah, evidently there's little nuances in there that you really need to know what you're doing. Yeah. But we've got a guy now that we're starting to Vaughn Scow. He's building pickups, and we're selling them through WGS. It's fixing to come out.
Wow.
Well, I think it started. I think it started this week.
Yeah, I did recently see something about.
Get him in time for Christmas.
Yeah, he's starting up. He's the guy that does our blog and our video demos on the website.
That's cool.
Nice.
He was down in Nashville, and so, he's a big gearhead.
So you have a speaker that fails, right?
Yeah.
I've done a couple things in my day. I've turned speakers inside out.
Yeah.
Actually, with a mod that Jeff did to my dual rectifier back in the day. That was interesting because it just stopped making noise, and I was like, what just happened? And I looked over, and the grill cloth was being pushed out. I was like, that isn't good. Now, when you fry a voice coil, what happens? Is it too much current going into the thing, and it shorts?
It's heat. It's all heat.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's a lot of heat sometimes.
As long as you watch the heat, you're okay. A lot of there's a couple of speaker companies out there, a couple of these newer guys that are using paper coils, and their warranty is really weird about them. And I understand, because that paper, it will, anything over 30 watts on a paper former at 1 3/4 is, you're taking a chance.
I didn't know it could be made out of anything else.
Well, there's Nomex, and it's pretty close to paper, and it'll, you can get up 60, 70 watts easy, and then you go into your cap tones and all this other stuff, and you can get up to 100 watts. But yeah, it's mainly the heat. You really don't want to just overdrive stuff. That's I figure these speakers will last 50. No reason they won't last 50 or 60 years as long as you're not baking them every night.
Right.
That's cool.
Well, what's the fun?
Oh, yeah.
What's the fun of not baking them? But
Well, there you go. That's why we keep building them.
Exactly.
I mean, our 15 watt black and blue,
Mm-hmm.
it'll take 25, 30 watts. But I tell you, if you get over about 16, 17, it loses that character to me. I mean, it'll work, but it just loves that 15 watts. That's where it wants to be.
And that's your equivalent to the like a blue bulldog.
Yeah.
Which are 15-watt speakers, and a pair of them in an AC30 is cool. Unless you're pushing the piss out of the AC30 all the time.
And I'll give it to Celestial. I mean, that thing's been around a long time.
Yeah.
I would feel at least they keep their sound. When they're pushed really hard. I've heard those black and blues. They'll hang in for a long time, but if you're really hitting them hard, I don't know what it is. They get a little crash. They just, I don't know. They lose a little character. I mean, they won't blow, but they.
Well, that's a good part.
It's not real pleasant.
Now,
well, it's. I think it's whatever is enabling them to be a 20 or 25 watt speaker may be the difference between that and the Blue Bulldog, which is a 15-watt speaker, and it really doesn't like too much more, unless I'm incorrect there. But
Now, let me ask you I know Jeff's sitting here, but out of all the speakers that you guys make for the guitar application, what would you say you like? That's the pleasant sound on your ears.
That's a tough one. It really just depends on what I'm listening to, but I don't know. Our 100-watt Alnico Blackhawk HP.
Wow.
I really I like it with about anything.
Wow,
and it'll take all that you can throw at it for the most part. It's kind of bulletproof.
And that's pretty substantial for an Alnico.
Yeah. And it's the same motor as a Blue or any of the rest of them.
Really?
Yeah, it's 40-ounce Alnico, and it's just got a really nice coil in it that'll take the heat, and I've knocked the resonance is a little lower than most of the Alnicos out there. It's
that resonance
instead of 75 hertz cone, it's probably running around, I don't know, 66, 68.
No,
and it gives it a nice warm low end, and it's still got some nice top to it. So it'll do clean to mean pretty good.
So what the resonance? I know 66 hertz. Is that the lowest it'll go, or how does that work?
No. That's just the cone resonance itself, just the cone by itself. It'll get down and dirty. I don't know. It'll get a little bit lower.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe that. Maybe Dean knows how to describe resonance better, but it's. Everything has like a resonant frequency to it.
Yeah.
Like a guitar, you'll hit one.
Yeah, one note will ring.
One particular note.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where the guitar resonates.
Okay,
yeah,
I see.
Like with a cone, that's like whatever frequency you hit maximum excursion of that cone. That's
How did anybody figure this out?
Oh, who knows? I think it's magic still.
I mean,
somebody just made up measurements to go, well, we'll call these specifications for a speaker. I don't know.
I mean, I'm thinking. You think about this. How they first off, it was round, and I just don't. To me, I guess maybe they took it because the old record players had that cone.
Yeah,
that it just resonated that through. There was no speaker. It was it just came off of the needle and went out. I guess Marconi.
Just the idea you can take two wires and hook to a speaker and hear all this beautiful sound is it's just magic. It really is.
Yeah,
seriously, it is. I mean, forever. I remember one time I tore. I had a oh my God, Black Widow.
Oh.
And you could remove the basket.
Yeah. I just
Right?
did one for a guy the other day. Yeah.
So I took the thing apart and I was like, well, what's
What
This
makes
is
it? What
it?
makes it do this?
yeah, I was like, this is it. and my one friend, when we were growing up, we were looking at it and we're going, it's got to be something else here. And it was like, nope.
That's it.
There's no
Yeah,
little
it's
amplifier
magic.
inside the
It,
magnet.
yeah.
It was the most, I was like, this is ridiculous. It just didn't look like it should work.
Well, I mean,
It's-
you know, it's if you study electronics at all, it's the theory of
A coil.
moving,
Yeah.
of AC frequency in a coil through a magnetic field.
Yeah. And you've got it trapped in that gap, and it's a magnetic field. Then you've got another magnetic field, and it's doing its damnedest to get out. And
There you
That's
go.
stuck.
That is
It
cool.
can't get out.
I like that.
Yeah, so it just keeps going back and forth.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of violent when you think about it. But that's exactly what's going on.
Oh, it's extremely violent because the cabinet I had,
Right.
I lost 2 of them, which cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of like $200. But I was so impressed
Exactly.
that I just was like, well, this is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Because my head just destroyed these 2 speakers.
Oh yeah.
Rip
that feeling in your chest, and yeah.
Oh yeah. What is the okay? So you got the coil. What is that yellow? What is that?
That's the spider.
Yeah.
Right?
Spider.
Okay.
Or
And that's the thing that allows it,
suspension, but
Yeah.
everybody calls it spider.
yeah, rip that right out of the back of this.
Yeah, that's
Oh, man.
that's what holds the coil
Yeah, no, it was gone.
Yeah.
in mid movement. I guess is
Yeah, it's all about keeping everything centered.
right. Right.
As long as nothing's hitting the edges, and it's good to go. And with all that violence going on in there, you've just got to have something to hold it all in place. And
Wow.
between the cone and the spider.
Well, I can say who the
that keeps it
manufacturer
going.
was. It was a Carvin cabinet.
Oh, okay.
At one of the 412s, and it was their version of a British speaker. It was not a Celestion or anything.
Yeah.
And just 2 of them, let go.
It's probably an Eminence.
Probably back then, yeah. It was one of those carpeted ones, And it just destroyed it. I mean, I was like, well, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And and so then I had this mentality, well, you got to get more a bigger wattage. And so I went out and I bought some kind of crazy Celestion Sidewinder, I think is what it was.
Probably.
Yeah.
125 watt speaker. Did not sound that good.
Probably not their best effort.
No,
But
I
I couldn't do anything
Hear
to it.
about those much? Yeah.
No. And I paid dearly for those speakers. They were very expensive.
Yeah. Well, it had the C name on it.
Yes,
Well,
it did.
I like those guys.
Oh no, they're great.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have to be imported. So it costs
from
extra.
one place or the other.
I remember when I went to the chain store and said, "I like to buy these 2 speakers." The guy goes, "Well, you can put your money here, but do know there is no 30-day return policy on this." And I went, "Okay, well, I guess we're just we're rolling the dice on this one."
Well, they can't trust you, man. You blew the other 2. They can't trust you with the speakers.
Well,
anymore.
Well,
he's
technically,
got a point there.
Technically, Jeff blew the other 2 because Jeff did the mod.
We've got a pretty lenient policy on that. If you buy something and it doesn't work for you, if you'll call us in 30 days, we'll switch it out for another, or we'll give you your money back.
Very nice.
Wow.
As far as warranty goes, I'm thinking we're 3 years or 5 years.
Wow.
Against a manufacturer defect, but we do have pretty good 30-day policy. Yeah, if it's not your thing and you want to try something else, we'll switch it out. I think you get one switch in 30 days, but we'll try and walk you through it.
Well, that's like that's like Seymour or DiMarzio.
Will they do that?
They will do that.
Wow.
They tell you when you put the pickup in first. Make the wires. Try to keep them as long as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you put it in, it doesn't sound right. Take it out. You got to show them proof of receipt. That type of thing. Send it back to them. Tell them what you think you want it to, and they'll send you a new pickup.
Yeah,
They'll let you do that.
we've been doing that, and I'll take the ones
cool.
that come back. They might have a little solder on the terminal lugs, or you can see where they've been mounted once. But we'll run them on the website as B stock and sell them at a discount price, brand new, played once. Somebody didn't
there you
care
go.
for it.
That's awesome, man.
So yeah, it all works out.
I didn't know.
This is awesome.
We really just started doing that here a couple of months ago. I noticed, I thought we're really getting, there's a few speakers laying around here that there's absolutely nothing wrong with, other than they've had a screw in them at some point, or a lead soldered to them. So yeah, we've been running those out here lately.
Are they warehouse guitar
They're
speakers?
warehouse.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking that.
yeah, definitely.
They're from the warehouse.
Sitting in the warehouse, just waiting for somebody to adopt them. Yeah.
See, so Dean, you said you don't play, man, because and that's just sad, because you will never have the experience of blowing the hell out of a speaker, and they always sound great right before they go.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Oh, I've been part of that a bunch. Yeah, I just didn't have my hand on the guitar.
That's why
we've got plenty of guys that will entertain me anytime I ask them to. Yeah.
Well, that's why
that's great.
I feel bad for those guys that do the fractal stuff. Because
you mean the scientist part of it and not the player part?
Nothing replaces that air moving. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just remember, when your pants legs are moving from all that air, it's not good for you because you will go deaf. But I'm telling you, nothing does that. Nothing does that better. I just remember, and when you hit those notes that just, like you said, has the resonance,
they just sing.
It is like, oh my God, this thing could go for a decade.
It's there, yeah.
And if it's got warehouse speakers in it, they won't blow up.
That's right, for a decade.
For a decade.
All through the 90s, my main job, we were running, all the aftermarket car audio. And that was when I was at Credence. And, all the kickers and the JLs, and you talk about loud. It was,
that's
just insane. A whole different world. I'm much happier in the guitar side of it.
That world that's loud to the point of damage. It really, really is.
And it's flat, right? It's as flat as it can be. So
it's all power.
And there's a different. It just doesn't have. I don't know what it is. With regular like audio speakers, you just don't get that life.
No, you really got to work at it. It becomes cabinets at that point. Yeah.
Wow.
It really becomes enclosures. Yeah. There's nothing like live sound. It's just it's unbeatable.
And they all use those wonderful enclosures made of particle board.
The MDF comes in to save the day.
Well, it's funny, and we always talk about this. It's like you hear your amp, and your amp can sound amazing, and then they put a microphone in front of it, and then they run it through 60,000 watts of the cleanest power on the planet through this system that is designed not to really distort ever. And you go out and you listen to your guitar, and you go, doesn't sound like that at all.
On stage, right?
No, the stage is completely different. Yeah,
that's why I used to crank up so loud, because they never ran me through the PA system. They would just come off the stage and just, I used to have to turn them inward.
Oh yeah,
because it was too much.
That's funny, Dean. By the way, I'm toasting you here.
Oh, good deal.
I can hear your bourbon on the rocks.
I wondered if you heard that a minute ago.
A couple of times. Right back at you. Good deal.
This is our over 21 show.
Yeah, it's in Kentucky. Gotta have some bourbon.
That's right. Absolutely, man.
It's been a long day.
Well, tomorrow's going to be a fun day, so that's
it is.
That's
good.
That's
families coming in. In fact, I'm hoping that there's not a bunch of kids and dogs come running through here at any minute. It's getting pretty close.
Batting down the hatches.
I think I've got myself sequestered pretty good, but you never know.
Yeah,
when the grandbaby comes, I don't. I might have to take a break if she comes bopping in here.
Oh, that's all right.
Well, that's good. I mean,
some stuff.
Yeah. We you could take a break at any time at this point.
We're good. We're good.
Well, I'm amazed. Yeah. I never understood this this object, how it worked. I still can't get it through my head.
Yeah, I understand that it
help
much with that.
Well, no, I understand. I understand the principles of it moving and the coil and all that. It's just like the science behind it. It's like, who thought of that?
Yeah,
that's my thing. Is where did this start? Because that guy should have been able to take us to Mars.
Well, I'm sure it all evolved from there somehow or another. And,
I mean, I really never paid attention to it back in the day when I was a kid learning how to play guitar. You know, it was you had an amplifier that had a speaker in it. You know, and if something went wrong with the speaker, you just found another speaker of the same size and you put it in and you just continued playing. You know, and wow, it sounds a little different, or maybe it did, or maybe I wasn't discerning enough to even know it sounded different.
Do you know what we did? I had a '63 Fender Vibrolux.
Okay.
Had the 210 Jensens.
Yeah.
So my buddy goes, "Hey man, you know, Radio Shack's got these 10-inch speakers that are like 50 watts." And we were like, "Okay." So I, saved up my money, went and bought these turds, put them in the back of the amp, and I was like, "This is the most horrible thing I've ever heard in my life."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were they like
have the right one.
Were they stereo speakers with the foam surround and everything
there
else?
you go.
Yeah. Well,
had no idea what I was doing. Nothing.
Right. It's a 10-inch speaker and it's got a higher power rating. It must be better.
That was it. That was exactly how it was.
Pretty much what I was doing. Yeah.
Couldn't have had that
I
goddamn
couldn't
internet
play
here
anything, but I was taking stuff apart. And,
yeah.
I remember having a big EV monitor cabinet in the back of an old Vega that I had. Yeah, just all kinds of stuff like that. It was just a never-ending hodgepodge of just whatever I could get my hands on to try and make sound good.
Just shattered a back window out with that.
Yeah. But everybody liked it when I showed up at the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Your trunk's rattling, man.
No, I didn't even have it in the trunk. I just put it in the back seat. I'd take it out whenever I wanted to be outside.
There you go.
That's
portable
awesome.
stereo speakers.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. So, you guys got a lot of models out now. Do you generally have half of your guys in the shop, bringing in their rig and checking out speakers, or telling you what they would like? I mean, how do you develop the models? What's the process?
Yeah.
I got to say, I hit the forums a lot.
Okay.
And, listen to what people are looking for, what they're playing through. In fact, we just released a Green Beret 10-inch last month, and I've got a Retro 10 and an ET 10 coming up anytime. I'm going to try and get them out by Christmas, at least by now, because 10-inch seem to be a trend leaning towards 10s now, and they're medium-sized magnets. And so far, so good. They're sounding pretty good. And,
nice.
And then we've got our version of a 12L out, and that's finally starting to take off. People are finally starting to take the chance on it.
What's that?
An EV.
It's,
Electro voice.
It's an 18-pound 12-inch, but it will take anything that you will throw at it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just do the math, right? Mm-hmm. Now is that just the magnet weight?
No, it's
the whole speaker.
Whole speaker. Okay,
it's mainly magnet.
But the magnet's 95% of the weight.
Yes. So it's 72 extra pounds inside that cabinet that probably weighs 50 or
412?
60.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There is our dealer in Germany, I heard, is building a special ported 412 for some metal guys over there that are just laying waste to every place they go to with them. But yeah, I don't know that I'd want to stand in front of it.
Wow.
Like a train rolling over.
Speaker really intrigues me because for me, I maybe this might be a.
You may have to try one.
Yeah, I may, because it might be something to offer as an upgrade. Because mine, after listening through all these speakers and knowing what I wanted in the beginning and what I wanted it to sound like, and the closest comparison I think I can come up with is probably to an EV, because it's flatter. It doesn't have it doesn't have the peak of a Jensen or the signature peak of a Celestion or anything like that. I wanted something.
Yeah,
with
you'll hear your amp.
Yeah, I wanted to hear something with a much flatter palette, and that's where we started developing this, and I really am interested in that EV.
Well, Bonamassa, he uses EVs. He has his own signature model, right, or something like that?
He might have a signature, I don't know, but in the when I first delivered him the first Arena 50, he was using the oversized Marshall cabs made by Mojo, loaded with EVs.
Yes,
and he plugged it. And he plugged it in, and he went, "Wow, this thing really likes EVs." And I went, "Yeah, that's because my speaker kind of sounds
like
closer
an
to an EV than a Jensen or a Celestian,
That
so
is cool, man.
I'm really interested in that.
Yeah, I'll get one of those to you next week.
That's cool. That's cool. And
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, I'll get you one out there.
UPS guy.
Yeah, it's worth giving a listen to.
Oh, for sure. And another big going back, another big EV user, Stevie.
Oh,
yeah,
Stevie Ray. He used to run 410-inch EVs in his Super Reverbs.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they used to carry around an extra road case with boxes of EVs in there because somehow he used to blow EVs in a 40-watt Super Reverb. And I don't know how. Right. But they used to carry spare EVs, E10s, to put in his Super Reverbs.
You know who uses those too?
Who?
Mr. Beard. Zach Wild.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
he uses
He has his own
one or two
signature model.
Yeah, he's got a couple of those signature ones.
Yeah.
So they're becoming a little popular again. And, I'm happy to see that 10s are taking off because that's where I started. I started East with my reference 10 that these guys make.
Now, is the EV comparable to the Altec from back in the day?
I'm sure, to an extent.
To an extent, I would think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why,
it's closer than to a JBL for sure. But
that was a good, Allman Brothers and
are you saying are you saying the EV is closer to a JBL or the Altec's closer to a JBL?
I would say the Altec's closer to a JBL than the Altec's closer to an EV than the JBL is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
To me, and looking at the parts and all, the JBLs are a little bit shallower. They don't have quite the low end. I don't think, at least not as clean.
Mm-hmm. I just had a Tweed Pro in here with an Altec 15 in it.
Really?
Yeah. Was it the 418 or something like that? I think.
Yeah, the big. Is it a white one? Was it? But yeah, the 418B or one of those. Yeah. I've recombed a few of those. Yeah, they're pretty good speakers.
I'm not a fan of the metal dust cap, but
if
I had to play one, that's the series. The early Altecs were just so good.
I've had a couple of guys wanting our version, like your East 12, that smooth cone, our G12CS. I've had a couple of guys that want the aluminum dust cap, and I had a box of them at one time, and I hadn't been able to find them, and they're really hard to come by anymore.
Are they really?
Well, kind of. I can't just call somebody up. I'm going to have to find somebody, but it may be interesting. But I'm like you, I've never been a fan, so I never kept any around.
Well, I'm sure back in the day when you could smoke in working environments, people just turned them upside down and used them for ashtrays.
Yeah. That may be what happened to the box I had.
That's what I'm thinking.
Forever, when you would see those speakers, somebody would have touched the cone.
Yeah, every time.
The dust cap just. Boonk.
Yeah, and people think it's metal. It's very rigid and solid.
No.
It's not. And people can't help but put their finger in it. That's just the way it is.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know.
It's like fingering a pie, fingering cake icing.
I used to see that and I'd be like, why? What is the obsession to poke that thing?
Yeah, it just is. It's because it's so shiny.
Right. Bright and shiny. It's bright and shiny.
Ooh, shiny. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Oh, my God. Like cats.
That is hilarious. Now, is there any difference? There has to be some difference because everything makes a difference. We all know this. Any difference in the all aluminum dust cap or the aluminum with the little black center that they used to use on? Was it early? Were they in piles or early eminence?
Piles and some of the PD stuff had that disc in it, if I remember right.
Yeah,
I do. I think it. It doesn't take off much, but it does take off a little bit of that very, very staticky, just annoying top end to me. Anyway.
I call it ice pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just. I'm not a fan. I just don't see the point. But,
me neither.
Highs are highs. That's
Yeah.
Those aluminum caps just go way beyond what I think a high ought to sound like. But
Well,
to each his own.
Harkey did a little bit different. They made an aluminum cone.
The cone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did some of those when I was at Credence. We did
Really?
a few for those guys. Really nice guys. I hated those cones. Yeah, you look at them crooked, and they would have a dent in them, or you couldn't get anything to adhere to them.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a pretty tough time getting that one going, but it finally worked out for them.
My old bass player Les, God rest his soul, he had the 810
Harkey.
two 410s, but that had that whole system at the XL system, so it was 900 watts and all that. And I just remember he would and this was when bass players were in the 90s were cleaning up their sounds.
Mm-hmm.
There was no more distortion. And I just remember he would
What's wrong with us?
He would hit that G string, and it would just go right through my forehead.
Yeah.
Because all the high frequency would just come just puking out of this thing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, just warm that thing up.
I can remember hearing a few of them that I thought sounded just glorious, but overall, that aluminum is it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't see any SVT cabinets with aluminum cone speakers in them.
No.
I mean, I'll even go there. We right before SLM, kind of got chopped up and split apart. One of the last SVTs, I think that I built the woofers for. They were 2.5-inch coil 10s, and they were 3 woofers to a cabinet, and then 1 woofer that had a built-in horn in the back plate that came through the front of the cone.
Really?
And I believe that those went in some of the last SVTs that came out of St. Louis.
Wow, that's a weird combination.
And that was back before WGS,
and
a few years.
SLM is the St. Louis
Music.
Yeah.
Ampeg.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Ampeg, crate.
Everybody, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had one of those crates with a Celestion in it.
Yeah, crate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crate.
Throw that thing
They had all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that all went to China.
Yeah.
Oh,
Here, there, everywhere. It's split up all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But hey, I think Magnetone was born out of that. This rebirth of Magnetone came from all that. So
True. I haven't played one of those yet. I'm kind of curious to hear them.
The speakers sound good in them.
I was going to say, did you do the speakers?
Yeah, the speakers are really nice that they use. Yeah.
Nice.
Thought I'd slip that in there.
Good.
So what we'll do is we'll put, like we do with everybody, we'll put his website link on our support the guests page.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
And it'll be underneath the episode, and that will live out on the archive page, but it'll run for the next week, on the front page.
Yeah,
cool.
For sure. And
we're going to put all the info out there.
There's they make quite a few speakers now, quite a few more than when we started our association.
It's probably doubled since then.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting on up there, and I'm working on stuff all the time. But
well, God bless you for keeping it here
on these
too.
new tins.
God bless you for keeping it here because that it seems like some of these companies that have no problem. They're like, okay, we're going to go.
Yeah, but I've got to keep working for a few more years. I can't. I'm too old to learn how to speak Chinese.
Good on you.
Yeah, I've got to keep this going here.
So let's recap. Too old to learn how to wind pickups, and too old to learn how to speak Chinese.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a little lazy. Maybe that's what we're going to take away from this.
Well, all I can tell you is when I call them up, they don't act lazy.
Exactly.
They really they're on it.
That is so cool.
The product is so good.
We try to be.
And it's probably one of the parts that a lot, like you said, when you're younger, you just don't give any thought to it.
Right.
Right. And if you really think about it, kind of a key component in the amp,
Yeah.
It's that last thing.
Yeah, it's like brakes in your car. You can go real fast, but you need to stop.
Right.
You can play your guitar through an amp if there's no speaker.
Really
you're going to tear up all kinds of stuff.
It's really not going to sound all that
exactly.
good. Yeah, but that's good. There are a lot of great models, and I'm looking forward to checking out the EV, man.
I'll get you one after.
Piqued my interest.
That
for
is
sure.
Cool, man.
Yeah, because that's where I think
Awesome.
my ear is laying at this point. So that's good, and I'll pick it up and put it back on, and we'll be good. But anyway,
well, I got to tell you guys, this has been really painless. I'm not much on speaking to the public or individuals for that matter. I mean, it took me a while to get up the nerve to talk to Jeff at the amp show. But,
dude, I'm easy going, and we both drink bourbon.
Exactly.
We're good, man.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Exactly.
You know, we ought to hook him up with Vinny from VPEX.
Oh, Vinny
I've met Vinny a couple of times. He seems like a really nice guy. Yeah.
He is a great guy.
Vinny's a great. We haven't had a guest on that hasn't been a great guy, man.
That's true.
I'm telling you,
we
man.
have been lucky.
The music industry.
We need another amp show where we can all get together again. And it's been a while.
It has been a while. It definitely has been.
Yeah, man.
Well, maybe we'll drag Mick out with us next time, and
I'm okay for that.
We'll do some. We'll just start doing podcasts all over the place. You know?
Yeah, you can't beat a good amp show. I mean, yeah.
Well, the good thing is I don't enjoy the liquid beverage, so I can be the driver.
There you go. You can drive this show.
I can driver.
I can drive you around.
It's just as much fun either way.
That way, if we do get pulled over, I can just. I'm okay.
Pulled over? We're going to get pulled over from hotel room to hotel room?
Yeah, I mean,
the amp show police?
Generally at the amp show, if I can't walk there, I'm probably not going.
That's true. You know, and they start early and go long.
Oh,
yeah, you got to pace yourself.
That's right. That's right. Well, Dean, you paced yourself just fine through this episode of Amps and Axes, so cool. My friend, and thank you for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and I know there's a lot going on right now, and you know he's constantly showing that genius factor and coming up with new speakers, and you know, keep up the good work, because damn it, you don't have to learn how to wind pickups or speak Chinese.
Exactly.
You're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
I'm just going to stick with the speakers, and man, had a great time, guys. This was awesome.
Thank you very much, and thanks for agreeing to do it. I know, you know, I didn't want it to be a challenge. I wanted it to be nice and easy and free flow for you, because that's the way all our shows go, man. Yeah. So
sounds like it. Yeah, I'm a fan now. I didn't know this was going on, so yeah, I'll be tuning in.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's very cool. And we'll let you know when it's up, and maybe you can tell all your friends at Warehouse or that you know that shop.
Maybe I'll listen to it first.
Oh, yeah, you'll love it, man. You'll love it. You know, because we come back after you're gone, and we tell the people what we really thought about.
There you go.
No, but we actually do, and you got nothing to worry about, my friend.
You didn't step on anybody, because there's been a couple guests that I've had to go back and kind of do some edits. They get a clear head about 10 minutes later, and like, hey, can you cut that part out?
Yeah. Did I say that?
Right.
No.
It's all good.
Just a couple. We haven't had many.
No, we haven't had many. But Dean, thank you again. Thanks for taking the time in. I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, and we will turn on as many people as we can to Warehouse guitar speakers.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys.
It's all good, man. Have a great evening, my friend.
You too.
Take care. All right, so there you have the story. You know, a speaker story for a change. You know?
I learned a lot. And I hope everybody else out there that had no clue what was going on inside those things learned too, because I just don't get how he just can.
The speakers are not just things that move. You know? There's as huge a science behind them as there is to anything else in this music industry.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a YouTube video that the paper does not affect it at all.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? We'll put that one up too, and let the slings and arrows fall where they may.
Yes, I tell you what, that's a really cool thing in this day and age, with how many companies have just fleed. You know, it's really good that they've stuck around, and you know, I mean, they still manufacture their parts over in Thailand, but they come back here. You know?
Right.
It's like they're making baskets. I guess it's cheaper to make them over there than it is here. Mm-hmm. So, but all the tools are there. So, and they look over top of it.
It's so good to be able to deal with a local company, like them, and you know, somebody where you know I'm not ordering 1,000 speakers at a time. Mm-hmm. You know, and just to be able to get speakers from them at the price. I mean, the price that they're able to give to the public for, you know, they're pretty much OEM pricing they're offering to a guitar player that calls up and says, "Hey, I'd like to buy one of your speakers for my amplifier."
Yeah,
and they go, "Cool."
It was like what I was saying at the beginning there. When I first saw it, I was like, "They got to be crap," because the price was too good, and honestly never heard of them.
Right.
You know, I mean, it was like when he asked me, he said, "Have you ever heard of these guys?" I'm like, "No," and I'm like, "What?" But then I saw the magazine it was in.
Yeah.
Vintage guitar.
Yeah.
They don't run crap companies for their ads.
No, the readers are probably a little too discerning in there, like Premiere. Vintage and Premiere. I mean, it's not your normal magazine, you know. Where
it's not
where
Guitar World, where you know the guy from My Bloody Valentine's on the front.
Right. And not dissing anybody. Music is music, but it's
you see what they cater to.
There's the readers of Vintage and Premiere are a couple rungs up on the ladder, and they have a little more knowledge, a little more experience, and they're looking for the better stuff.
The demographic is
absolutely
got money.
Yeah, yeah, and they're looking for the better stuff.
Yeah, and then when I saw it, I was like, maybe this is a mistake.
And I tell you what, if you put an ad in Vintage Guitar or Premier Guitar for something that's crappy, you're probably not going to have a longevity in the business.
No,
because you're going to get called out by people that know what they want. That this is just somebody trying to make money and they're putting out a crap product. And obviously that wasn't the case with these guys because they just flourished after that. You know, and what a great idea, man! Just let's offer the player a product, you know, at incredible pricing.
Yeah,
you know, I honestly, if you haven't checked out their website, go on their website. Just look at the price of a speaker. It's fantastic. You'll never buy a Celestion. You'll never walk into a guitar store and plunk down Celestion money for a Celestion when you can get something built in this country that. You know, and if you want a speaker that sounds like a Celestion,
I was going to say
they've got the selection.
They've got it.
You
right
want
there.
A speaker that sounds like a Jensen? They've got the
it.
selection. It's there. You know,
they've even got stuff that those two companies don't offer.
Right.
Where they kind of mix and match some of the sound and give you your own unique tone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard some of their audio clips on there, and I'm like,
that 100-watt Alnico.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was possible.
I didn't either. And I saw that and I went, really?
But, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely check those guys out. We're going to, like I said, it'll be up on the website, Amps and Axis Cast. And if you're there, what time of year is it? Yeah, it's right. Black Friday. It's coming.
Maybe you can buy a warehouse guitar speaker through Amazon.
I have no idea. But if you can, click through our banner. Go out there. We get wet our beaks a little bit. And you're showing some love, and we do appreciate everything. We didn't thank anybody today. We got to thank them.
Thank you.
The comments that came in for the whole tone thing was refreshing because, you know, we like to get these comments, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. Send them to us because, you know, we need to know if we're going down the right track. It's sort of like, you know, the way that guitar warehouse speakers are.
Well, you know, we're definitely going down
warehouse guitar speakers.
We're definitely motoring down the track.
Yes, we are.
You know, now.
But every now and then I may throw a wheel off.
Stick a rock under the wheel. But that's okay.
That's fine. We'll make up for it the next show.
I'm sure we'll throw 2 rocks under the wheel, but it doesn't matter. You know, we try to impart information and bring you guests that we hope you'll enjoy because we enjoy. We enjoy having them.
Hell yeah.
You know, and
I'm learning so much crap on this show.
Everybody's enjoyed being on the show.
Yes.
So, you know, send us your comments and let us know what you think. And
you can do that on our webpage.
Yes, you can.
Or you can email us at, I'm going to mess it up, ampaxcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
So you can either go to the forum that's on the webpage under Contact Us, or you can just do it through Gmail. And either way, we get it. We do respond to everything.
And or do the ratings on
yes,
on
please
the
give
iTunes.
us 5 stars out on iTunes. Give us all the ratings you want, and we answer every comment.
Sometimes I'm really slammed sometimes, and sometimes it takes me a little while, but I try to get to it. I really, really do.
And if not, you know, I try to answer so that way they know that it's not just out there. And then you got your thing, so I know you know you'll get to it.
Yes,
you're always good.
I try.
So until next time, my friend, I am Mick Marcelino. You,
I guess I'm still Jeff Bober,
and we are saying
onward.
Be sure and follow the show on Twitter @Amps and Axis. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and everything else, visit the webpage, ampsandaccesscast.com. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Once I found out it was just audio, I thought, well, I can do this. I can pull this off.
Oh, come on, you're a handsome devil.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I just know that wouldn't have worked at all. I would have had to have been in silhouette.
Like on 60 Minutes when they interview those drug dealers.
Like some common criminal or something. But yeah.
Oh, that's killer, man.
Yeah, my face probably would have been so red on video, y'all would have thought I was stroking out on it or something. So.